Before the world learned to rush, there were places that chose to wait. Before food came wrapped in plastic, there were hands shaped by fire and earth. In the quiet villages of rural Iran, life still begins with smoke rising into the cold morning air, bread baked on open flames, and stories passed from one generation to the next. This is not just a journey through food. This is a journey into a way of life where the land is family, cooking is memory, and every meal carries the soul of those who came before. The village wakes long before the sun shows its face. In the deep valleys of rural Iran, morning does not arrive suddenly. It slowly breathes its way into existence. First comes the silence, thick and heavy, broken only by the distant cry of a rooster or the soft movement of wind brushing against dry grass. Then the sky begins to shift from deep indigo to pale blue, as if the night is reluctantly letting go. This village, shaped by centuries of survival and tradition, stands quietly in the shadow of the mountains, unchanged by time and untouched by haste. Mud brick houses line narrow paths worn smooth by generations of bare feet. Their walls carry the warmth of yesterday's sun and the memory of countless winters. Doors open without locks. Trust here is not spoken, it is lived. From one of these homes steps an elderly woman named Bibi Zahra, her back slightly bent, but her spirit unbroken. Her face tells the story of a life spent close to the earth. Every line on her skin is a season she has survived. Every wrinkle, a lesson learned. She wraps her dark shawl tightly around her shoulders and steps into the cold morning air. Her breath rises like smoke. Without hesitation, she walks toward the outdoor cooking space beside her home. There are no modern appliances here. No shining steel or electric switches, only stones stacked carefully, blackened by years of fire, and a kettle that has boiled water more times than anyone can count. This place is not just a kitchen, it is a sacred space where nourishment and memory are created together. Bibi Zahra kneels and arranges pieces of firewood beneath the pot. With practiced hands, she strikes a spark. Flames catch quickly, licking the bottom of the pot as smoke curls upward into the sky. The smell of burning wood spreads through the air, mixing with the scent of damp earth. For this village, that smell means life has begun again. As the fire grows steady, she pours water into the pot and reaches for a cloth bundle resting nearby. Inside are wild herbs gathered from the hills before dawn. Parsley, dill, coriander, and mint, still fresh with morning dew. These herbs were not bought, they were earned, collected by walking long distances and knowing the land intimately. She chops them slowly, never rushing. Each movement carries intention. This morning, she is preparing ash edug, a traditional yogurt-based soup that has sustained villagers and nomads for centuries. It is simple, but it carries depth, like the people who cook it. As the pot begins to warm, the village slowly stirs. A donkey brays somewhere nearby. A child's laughter echoes faintly through the narrow alleys. From beyond the village, the soft ringing of sheep bells begins to rise. The nomads are awake. This village sits along an ancient migratory route. Every year, nomadic tribes pass through this land, following grass, water, and the rhythm of the seasons. They travel with everything they own, tents woven from goat hair, cooking pots darkened by fire, and knowledge passed down through generations. When they arrive, the village expands, not in size, but in spirit. At the edge of the village, black nomadic tents stand against the pale morning sky. Smoke rises from their fires too, blending with the smoke of the village kitchens until it becomes impossible to tell where one life ends and the other begins. Inside one tent, a woman named Roya kneads dough on a simple cloth spread across the ground. Her hands are strong, shaped by travel, cold nights, and endless journeys across mountains and plains. She presses the dough firmly, folding it again
They
and
are
again.
here.
There is no
Welcome.
bowl, no table, only the earth beneath her,
Thank you,
steady
my
and
dear.
familiar.
We
Nearby,
are
her
very
children help
tired.
tend to the lambs, their small
them moving
hands
to the
gentle
left.
but confident. This is the life they were born into.
Hurry up!
Movement is their home. Roya places a metal pan over the fire and begins baking naan-esegi, traditional nomadic bread. As the dough touches the hot surface, it puffs and browns. The smell of fresh bread drifts through the air,
Come,
carried
sit
by
by
the
the
wind
cloth.
toward the village
The
below.
food is
It is a
blessed
smell that needs
today.
no
It smells
introduction.
very
It speaks
good.
directly to the
I
heart.
brought fresh bread
Back in the
from
village,
the tent.
Bibi Zahra
Bibi,
stirs the soup
is
slowly.
the stew
She adds
ready?
yogurt, careful
It
not to let it
smells
curdle.
so good.
Her hands know
Yes,
exactly
my
when the
dear.
heat is
Be
right.
careful,
She
it
does not
is
need a
very
thermometer.
hot.
Experience guides her. She adds dried chickpeas, gathered and stored from the previous
Yes,
harvest,
these
and a
are
pinch
the
of salt
good
measured by
days.
instinct. Her granddaughter Mariam appears at the doorway,
race to
still
the
half asleep. She has seen this routine many times,
Be
but
careful,
today
little
feels
ones.
different. Perhaps it is the presence of the nomads. Perhaps it is the
Eat
way the
well,
smoke
Bibi
rises
Zahra.
into the sky like a
It will
signal.
warm you up.
Come closer,
Thank you,
Bibi
my
Zahra
daughter.
says gently.
It looks
Watch
delicious.
carefully. Mariam moves nearer, her
It
eyes
smells
following
so
every motion.
Good, Bibi.
Why do you stir so
it
slowly?
ready
She
now?
asks.
Yes, my
Because
little
food
flower.
listens.
Be
If
careful,
you rush it,
it
it
is
loses
very
its
hot.
soul.
Eat this.
These
it is
lessons
good
are
for
never
you.
written down.
Thank you,
They are
Bibi
whispered
Zahra.
between
The stew
generations,
is
carried
wonderful
by example
tonight.
rather than instruction. Mariam does not fully understand yet,
It is
but
good
she
to
feels
share
the
this
weight
meal
of the
with
moment.
you all again.
By
May
mid-morning,
the
the village is
blessings of
fully
the
awake.
harvest be
Women
upon
gather
us.
near the communal oven,
Mariam,
carrying
pass the
bowls
cheese to
filled
our
with dough,
guest.
herbs, and dairy.
These mountains
Voices
hold many
rise and fall in
secrets,
gentle
child.
conversation.
Our
Laughter blends
ancestors
with the
learned to
crackling of
listen to
fire.
the wind
Someone
long
brings
before
freshly
they built
churned
these
butter.
stones.
Another brings dried yogurt balls,
The
hard as stone,
mountains have
but full of
stood
flavor
watch
once
for
softened.
1,000 years.
The men return from the fields,
They have
their
seen
hands
many
rough, their
seasons
faces
come and
sun-worn.
go.
The nomads guide their sheep closer to the village, forming a moving sea of wool and dust. Children run freely between them, unafraid. There are no strangers here, only people who have not yet shared a meal. At under a large walnut tree, a long cloth is spread across the ground. This is where everyone will eat. Bowls are placed carefully, as if part of a quiet ceremony. Bread is stacked high. The soup is poured slowly, steam rising into the open sky. No one eats immediately. They wait. Respect comes first. When they begin, there is no rush. Hands tear bread, dip it into the soup, and pass bowls to one another. The taste is rich, silent, and comforting. It tastes like memory, like survival, like belonging. Stories begin to flow naturally. A nomadic elder speaks of a winter so harsh that half the flock was lost. A villager recalls a year when rain never came and the land cracked open
This
in
is the
thirst.
wild mint,
These stories are
Mariam.
not told with
We
bitterness.
use this
They
for
are
the
told with
tea in the
pride.
winter.
They are proof of endurance. Mariam listens closely, her heart
This
full.
one is good
She
for the tea.
realizes that this
Gentle
meal
now.
is more than food.
Look,
It is a
Bibi
bridge
Zahra,
between
more
lives,
over there.
between settled earth and moving horizons, between past
خیلی
and
بوی
future.
خوبی میده
After
بیبی
the meal,
جان.
tea is brewed,
Bale
strong and dark.
azizam.
Cups are passed around as silence returns once more. But this silence is different. It is warm, heavy with understanding. Bibi Zahra looks at her granddaughter and smiles. Remember this, she says softly. One day, the fire will be yours. Above them, smoke rises gently into the sky, carrying with it the spirit of the village, the nomads, and a way of life that refuses to fade. The afternoon settles gently over the village, not with noise, but with a deep, patient calm. The sun hangs high above the
Here,
mountains,
taste this
washing the
piece
land
of
in
lamb.
soft gold.
Thank you,
This
my
is the
dear.
hour when
It
even
looks
the wind seems
perfect.
to slow its steps. Doors remain open, yet voices grow quieter.
You have
Work
added enough
pauses,
spice,
not because
my
there is
dear.
nothing left to do,
It
but
smells
because the land
wonderful.
itself
Yes,
asks for
Bibi.
rest.
Mariam
In rural
here is
Iran,
very
people
hungry.
listen when the land speaks.
Mariam walks beside her grandmother along a narrow path that leads away from the houses and into the hills. Bibi Zahra moves slowly, leaning on her wooden stick,
Bibi,
each step
is the soup
measured and
ready
sure.
yet?
Almost,
She knows these
my
paths
dear.
better than she
The
knows the
flavors
lines
need
on
a
her own
little more
hands.
time by the
Long
fire.
before roads and signs, this
Look
land
how
taught
the
her where to
light
walk
touches
and when
the
to stop.
peaks.
Along the
The
hillside,
mountains
wild
are saying
herbs grow
good night
freely.
to the
Some are
sun, my
soft and
dear.
fragrant, others sharp and bitter. Bibi Zahra points to each one carefully, naming them, explaining their uses. One is for soup, another for tea, another for healing wounds or calming the stomach. Mariam listens closely, kneeling to touch the leaves, rubbing them between
Look
her
how
fingers to
beautiful
remember
the
their
sky
scent.
is.
This knowledge is not written anywhere. It lives only in memory and practice. These mountains fed us when nothing else would, Bibi Zahra says quietly. During hard years, when crops failed, we survived because we respected what the land offered. As they gather what they need, the village below looks small and fragile, yet strong. Smoke rises from several fires, thin lines reaching toward the sky. Beyond the village, the black tents of the
Eat
Nomads
this,
stand
Mariam.
still,
It is
like watchful
very
shadows
good.
against
It
the
is
sunlit hills.
delicious, Bibi.
Back in the
There is
nomadic
enough
camp,
for
Roya
everyone.
prepares for the evening meal. The day's journey
The
has been
stew
long,
is very
and the
good
animals
tonight,
are tired.
Bibi June.
Sheep
Eat
rest
well, little
close together,
flower. It
their
will
bells
make you
silent
strong.
now.
It is
Inside
delicious.
the tent, the air is warm and dim.
And
Light
so the
enters
little
only through the
goat
low
found
opening,
his way
casting
home
long
through the
shadows on
blizzard,
the woven walls.
guided only
Roya
by the
places a
smell
heavy
of his
pot over the
mother's
fire
cooking
and adds
fire.
chunks of lamb,
We are
onions,
like this
turmeric,
fire,
and dried limes.
children.
The ingredients are few,
We
but
keep
each
the
one matters.
warmth alive
As the stew
through
begins
the
to simmer,
darkest
the tent
nights.
fills with a deep, rich aroma, wraps around the senses. This is food meant to give strength, to carry people through cold nights and long paths. Her eldest daughter helps, handing her spices and stirring when asked. There are no instructions, no corrections. Learning happens by watching, by doing, by repeating the same actions day after day until they become part of who you are. These food comes from movement, Roya says softly, almost to herself.
Which one is
It
the
tastes
North
of travel.
Star?
The brightest
As the sun
one,
begins to descend,
guiding
the
the
village
nomads
slowly
home.
awakens again. Children
It
who
brought us
napped
here
during the
for this
heat
meal.
now run freely through the paths. Women prepare dinner, grinding spices, washing rice, kneading dough. Men return from tending animals or repairing tools.
We
The rhythm of
gathered
life
here,
resumes,
just
steady
as our
and familiar.
ancestors did under
Bibi
these
Zahra
stars,
sits near her home,
to
sorting
share
lentils
the
for the
tales
evening
that
meal.
bind our
Mariam
hearts
helps,
together.
her small hands
Yeki
clumsy
bud,
but eager.
yeki nabud.
Occasionally, a lentil
در
escapes and rolls away,
زمانی
making them
که
both laugh.
آسمان
Simple
رنگی
moments like this
دیگر
pass
داشت.
unnoticed by the world, yet they carry a quiet beauty that cannot be captured or stored. As night approaches, the sky begins its transformation. Gold turns to orange, then to deep purple. Shadows stretch long across the land. Fires are lit one by one, small stars flickering to life on the earth below, the vast sky above. Under the walnut tree, villagers and nomads gather once more. Mats are laid out, pots are carried carefully. This time, the meal is heavier, meant to end the day with warmth and fullness. Rice cooked slowly over fire, infused with saffron and oil. Thick stew poured generously, fresh bread stacked high, still warm to the touch. Before eating, an elder speaks. His voice is slow but steady. He tells of a time when this village was nearly abandoned, when water ran dry and hope grew thin. It was the nomads who shared their milk and guided them to hidden springs. Survival, he reminds them, has always been shared. The children listen, wide-eyed. These stories are not told to entertain, they are told to teach, to remind the young that no one survives alone. Dinner is eaten slowly, hands move from bowl to bowl, sharing without hesitation. Laughter rises occasionally, soft and genuine. There is no excess here, no waste. Every grain of rice, every piece of bread is valued. Hunger has taught this land well. After the meal, tea is brewed once more. The kettle whistles softly as it boils. Tea glasses glow amber in the firelight. Sugar cubes are held between teeth as tea is sipped carefully. Conversation drifts easily, sometimes fading into comfortable silence. Mariam sits close to her grandmother, leaning against her side. She feels safe here, surrounded by people who know her name and her story. Above them, the first stars appear, sharp and countless. The sky in this place feels closer, as if it could be touched. Later in the night, the elders begin telling stories, tales of ancient journeys, of mountains crossed and rivers followed, of loyalty to family and land. One story speaks of a nomad who refused to sell his flock during a famine, choosing instead to share with neighbors, believing that dignity mattered more than wealth. The children listen, wide-eyed. These stories are not told to entertain, they are told to teach, to remind the young that no one survives alone. Mariam feels something settle deep inside her chest, a sense of responsibility, a quiet promise forming without words. As the night grows colder, people begin to drift back to their homes and tents. Fires burn lower. The village grows quiet once more. Only the distant sound of sheep shifting in their sleep and the occasional crackle of dying embers remains. Inside her home, Bibi Zara spreads thin mattresses on the floor. Mariam lies beside her, wrapped in a heavy blanket. The smell of smoke clings to their clothes and hair, comforting and familiar. "Grandmother," Mariam whispers, afraid to break the silence, "will the nomads come back?" Bibi Zara pauses, listening to the night. "They always do," she says gently. "The land calls them, just as it calls us." "And this life, will it stay the same?" Mariam asks. Her grandmother sighs softly. Nothing stays the same forever, but as long as someone remembers how to light the fire, how to share bread, how to listen to the land, this life will live. Mariam closes her eyes, holding on to those words. Before dawn, the nomads begin to prepare for departure. They move quietly, respectfully, as if not to disturb the village sleep. Tents are folded, animals guided gently forward. The path ahead is long, and the mountains wait. A few villagers wait to see them off. There are no long goodbyes, only nods, brief embraces, shared understanding. Roya meets Bibi Zara's eyes and smiles. No words are needed. They will meet again in another season, under another sky. As the nomads move away, their silhouettes slowly fade into the pale morning light. Sheep bells ring softly, then grow distant. The village
The
remains.
bread is almost
Bibi
ready,
Zara
Mariam.
steps outside
It
once
smells
more,
wonderful,
just as she did
doesn't
the
it?
day before. She gathers firewood, kneels by the stones, and lights the fire. Smoke rises into the cool air, carrying with it everything that was shared, everything that was learned, and everything that must be remembered. Mariam watches from the doorway. One day, she knows, these hands will be hers, and when that day comes, she will remember that life is not measured by speed or comfort, but by connection to people, to land, and to the fire that brings them together. Above the village, the sun begins to rise
Look,
again,
Mariam.
and with it,
The
the
sheep are
story
moving up
continues.
the hill already.
Long after the
They
fire
are going
fades and the
early
nomads
today, aren't
disappear
they?
into the mountains, something remains. It lingers in the scent of smoke, in the warmth of shared bread, in the quiet wisdom of hands that know the land. Because as long as someone remembers how to light the fire, how to share a meal, and how to listen to the earth, this life will never disappear. It will rise again with the morning smoke, carrying the spirit of rural Iran into another day.